Welcome to another episode of the Podcast Archive, your podcast channel. In this explainer, we're diving into something we all seem to love, a good crime story. From those late-night documentaries you can't turn off to the thriller you're reading, we just can't get enough. But here's the thing, not all crime stories are created equal. Today, we're going to break down the massive difference between the crimes we imagine and the ones that really happen. So let's just jump right in. What is it about these stories that grabs our attention and just doesn't let go? I mean, think about it. The media landscape is huge. You've got chart-topping podcasts, novels that become blockbuster movies. It's a fascination that cuts across every format you can think of, and it all comes back to this one big question.
So to get to the bottom of it, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at that basic split between what's real and what's made up. Then, we'll dive deep into three different worlds: the gritty reality of true crime, the creative freedom of crime fiction, and the super important watchdog role of journalism. And then, we'll tie it all together and see why knowing the difference really matters. Okay, let's get right to the heart of it. Pretty much every crime story you'll ever come across falls into one of two major buckets: the stories based on what actually happened, and the ones that are born from pure imagination. And this lays out that divide perfectly. On one side, you have true crime. This is all grounded in fact, and ideally, a ton of research. These stories are about real events, real people, and very real consequences. On the other side, you've got crime fiction, which is a total playground for the imagination. It's where writers get to build the perfect puzzle, giving us a thrilling escape and usually a nice, clean resolution at the end. So let's start by digging a little deeper into that first category, the powerful, and let's be honest, often really unsettling world of true crime. The crucial thing to get here is the absolute commitment to reality. True crime isn't just about telling a good story, it's about reconstructing a history. Creators will spend just countless hours digging through court documents, police reports, and interviews, all to present a story that is as factual and accurate as humanly possible.
Now, what's so interesting here is how all this defines the experience for us. True crime, at its best, really wants to inform us, to show us how the justice system actually works, or doesn't. And because we know these things actually happened, the emotional impact can be incredibly powerful. There's that chilling feeling of, wow, this is going to happen, or just this deep empathy for the real victims. It has to follow the facts, which totally appeals to our inner detective.
And you absolutely cannot talk about true crime today without talking about the world of podcasting. I mean, this medium has caused a total explosion of content, making these deep, investigative stories more accessible than they have ever been before. Just take a podcast like In the Dark. It's a perfect example of this genre at its absolute best. It's so fact-heavy and laid out in a way that makes you, the listener, feel like you're right there, sifting through the evidence alongside the host. Or think about something like Letters from Sing Sing. This shows you a completely different side of true crime, the deeply personal, long-form investigation. It all starts with just a single letter from an inmate, and it spirals into this decades-long journey for justice. It really highlights the profound human stakes that are involved in these real-life cases. All right, let's totally shift gears. We're leaving reality behind for a bit and stepping into the boundless world of crime fiction. This is where people get to build a crime from the ground up.
You know, in crime fiction, the only limit is what the author can dream up. Here, writers are like architects, designing these intricate plots, creating unforgettable detectives, and mastering that shocking twist you never see coming. It's all about crafting a gripping story from scratch. The appeal here is different, but man, it is just as powerful. Crime fiction gives us a thrill, but it's a safe one, right? We get to face the darkness from the comfort of our couch. And, maybe most importantly, unlike real life, it almost always gives us that satisfying ending, where justice is served and the case is closed. And this genre is celebrated at the highest levels. The Edgar Awards are basically the Oscars for crime and mystery writers. They recognize the absolute best of the best in the field. If you just take a quick peek at the submissions list, you see the incredible star power in this genre. We're talking about literary heavyweights like Lisa Gardner, Robert Galbraith, who you might know better as J.K. Rowling, and Louise Penny. These authors are just masters of their craft, creating these incredible worlds that millions of us love to get lost in. Now there's a third category we really need to talk about. It's a special one, because it often fuels the most powerful true crime stories, but it stands on its own with a totally unique mission, and that's investigative journalism. This definition from UNESCO is just perfect. The key word here is exposing.
This isn't just about telling a story that's already out there. It's about uncovering secrets, often the kind of secrets that powerful people or institutions really want to keep hidden.
And the gold standard for this kind of work is the Goldsmith's Prize. It doesn't just honor a good story. It honors journalism that creates real, measurable change in the world. This is journalism as a public service, designed to right a wrong.
And this slide breaks down the power of that work perfectly. Look at this example from KARE11. They started with the problem. They suspected Medicaid fraud. Their finding, after digging deep, was that companies were systematically billing all of us, the taxpayers, for services that were never even provided. And the impact? It wasn't just a headline. It led to FBI raids, criminal indictments, and brand new legislation. That right there is the watchdog role in action.
So we've looked at these three very distinct worlds. But why is it so important to actually understand the difference? Well, it's all about becoming a more conscious, more critical consumer of the media we love so much.
So the crucial point is really this. Each genre has a different job to do. True crime is there to inform us about reality. Crime fiction is there to entertain us, to give us a great escape. And investigative journalism, its job is to hold power accountable and to actively force change. They all deal with crime, but their goals couldn't be more different.
And that leaves us with a final thought. In an age where a documentary can feel just like a thriller and a podcast can actually lead to a new law being written, the lines between all these categories are constantly blurring. So the question for all of us is, how do we actively choose what we consume, understanding not just the story itself, but the purpose behind it?